are back.
Episode 14, I believe.
14 already, huh?
Yes, sir.
Man,
Rolling out here.
we got to check what percentage of people or podcasters get to the 14th episode. We gotta research that.
Probably not many, but I know our next benchmark is 21.
21. What happens at 21?
Yeah.
Yeah, what's supposed to happen at 21? I guess.
So we talked about it before, but it's 90% don't make it past the first 10. And of the 10% who make it past the first 10, 90% of those don't make it past episode 20, which will put us in the 1 percentile, at least volume of episode wise, volume of content wise, which is crazy.
No, I like that. I like that. I like being in the top percentile of anything.
Oh, you already know.
Yeah, I believe that is success.
That's a fact. Can't be here with them bottom dwellers and the quitters.
Nah,
People throwing in the towel.
Yeah, however you want to quantify it or quantify the outcome, the process has been perfect,
That's a fact.
and that gives me a thought, of course, and that's how usually we start off most of our shows with the oracle thinking of these thoughts. And some
It's like that. What is it? In the Matrix, the Oracle with the little kid with the spoon.
Yeah. That's why I kind of adopted that
Yeah.
persona from. Of course, I'm not a old black lady.
Naked lady.
But, yeah, clearly.
Hey, nowadays you never know, man. You could be if you say you was. That's how we rolling out here.
Yeah, but some of her qualities, her intuitive qualities, kind of rubbed off on me. So I will adopt the Oracle as I am talking to the one and only Yoda, of course.
Fitting.
The all-knowing, and it's starting to come across. You're starting to come across like you're kind of like my psychiatrist, and I don't need one. I don't need one, but it's kind of like a metaphor of you. You could be whoever's watching. You could be their psychiatrist. I guess I could just offer you up these dilemmas for you to break down. I know the average person probably definitely doesn't think how I think anyway, but it doesn't matter, right? So on this show, I want to point something out also to you, Jay, or to the people. There's nothing really rehearsed with what we do. There's nothing rehearsed in what Yoda does. So I see a couple of responses of, "Oh, he has to be reading," or something like that.
I see that.
Yeah, I've seen that a couple of times. So, I mean, that's a compliment because it's like
that's a fact.
Yeah, he has to be reading, but no, Yoda. Yeah, we talk from time to time, but he really doesn't know what I'm gonna throw at him or what I'm gonna say. Sometimes I don't know what I'm gonna say. I have a general idea most of the times. We do talk throughout the week, but he doesn't know what he's gonna say either. It's not rehearsed. He's not reading. I'm not reading. We have no script. It's just thoughts, right? So I just wanted to point that out.
That's crazy. But you know what? Real quick, that's a great insight into how a lot of people's mind works. That if you come up with some sort of idea in real time or you put something together well, they assume that there's no way that you can have the mental faculties to be able to do that without having had it typed out or Chat GPT wrote it or something. And that's like, I'm a big believer that how you see the world is really how it is that you see yourself. So when people go and say these things, they're just highlighting their own shortcomings and limiting beliefs around who it is that they are and what it is that they think that they are capable of accomplishing. Like it's it's a sad state of the world when people don't believe that it's possible to be organically or naturally well spoken, or that even that it's a skill that you can own, so to speak. Much like with rapping, right? Like if you
Hmm.
work at it, eventually you get better at it. It's the same thing. All of these things are skills that you could train, but that goes back to the thing we've touched on before. Everyone thinks it's talent. You're given a thing, or you're cheating, because there's no way that you could possibly do this thing because they can't do the thing. So they think it's just impossible, period, which is why they stay stuck wherever it is that they are forever.
Yeah, it kind of makes me think, right? Like, there's no, there's no perfection. People look for perfection in the outcome, but the perfection really comes from the process and the preparation,
Mm.
right? So it's like you need to prepare perfect in order to get the outcome you want. For people to think that you cheated, you know, yeah, that's a great point. It kind of brings me into one of my thoughts, right? So a couple of days ago, I I was imperfect in my everyday, my every week uh, routine. I was imperfect. I I had a I had a I had a drink the other day. I hadn't done that for some time, for a long time,
Mm.
and I had a fucking drink, and of course, um, when you're on a path of, or when you're on a journey of trying to be something greater than what people might be accustomed to, or you're searching perfection, you have people that say, "Oh no, it's okay," but nah, it's not okay. And yeah, I felt like crap, of course, not only physically but uh, mentally. You know, I'm hard on myself, and other people don't want you to be hard on yourself because they don't want to be hard on themselves, right? And that makes me think about the quest of perfection. I had a discourse about this the other day, right? What is perfect? What is perfection? Before I even get into my spill, I'd like to hear a little bit of your definition. I do have a definition. I think we both have the same or similar definition of perfection under the realms of uh, how we see the universe. I think our definitions similar, but I just want to hear you real quick a definition of what you feel perfection is.
I think I think that perfection, if you take a look out into the world, right? I would say that a tiger is perfection, because a tiger does exactly what it was intended to do, no more, no less. It lives perfectly in accordance with nature. It moves the amount that it's supposed to move. It sleeps the amount it's supposed to sleep. It eats the amount that it's supposed to eat. It hunts when it's supposed to. It reproduces as it's supposed to. It does exactly what it was intended to do. And
Mhm.
I think that most people have a weird surface level definition of perfection, where we, going with the tiger still, they have an example in their head of what a tiger is supposed to look like. So they will say a tiger that deviates slightly in its orange, or its stripe pattern is different, or maybe it's bigger or smaller than the rest of the tigers, is imperfect, right? Maybe this tiger's walking around with scars or chipped teeth or whatever the case may be. But that's a simple-minded way to look at it. The tiger, in and of its own existence, is perfection because it's existing exactly as it's intended to exist. And I think that the same thing is applied, or can be applied, to humans. Anyone who is existing exactly as they are supposed to exist, and going along with the accordance of nature and what is intended, is perfect. You might look a little bit differently than some other people. You might be taller, you might be shorter, you might have blemishes or whatever the case may be, you might be losing your hair, anything along those lines. That's all cosmetic nonsense. It's all into your actions and living in alignment. And anyone who is in alignment with the universe, the laws of the universe, so to speak, is perfect, at least by my definition.
By our definition. Uh, yeah, we follow the same philosophies. Of course, we wouldn't have this show if we didn't.
That's a fact.
We don't have to agree on everything, but we see things very similarly. Um, I might add, and yes, that is also the way I see things. So, first off, I'll start by naming this, and that's why I wanted you to kind of give me a little definition so I could cook up a name real quick for this pod. So I'll name this pod The Perfect Storm.
Mm.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, that's fire right there.
Yeah. Just piggybacking off what you said, man, and I'll start my little monologue or whatever you want to call it to start the show off. So perfection, right? And I'll take my time because I really got to get through this. Right? There is nothing in this world that is perfect. If you're going by the common understanding or definition of the word perfect, right? So under the common understanding, this means free of faults or defects. Under this context, it is impossible to be perfect as a human being. But this is not the universe's definition of perfect. When things go according to nature, and by nature I mean the natural order of things, you live, you die, scrape your knee, you bleed, you plant a seed, it grows, etc., etc. In life, when the natural order of things flow the way they're intended to be, that is perfection. Like Jay said, the lion, the stripes, the tiger, the stripes, all of that. It's the way nature is intended to be. And the flaws, the blemishes, the imperfections, that helps to make that perfection. So with this understanding, it is achievable and obtainable to be perfect. Um, and I believe, and I'll add that I believe every human should shoot for this goal, right? Because what's the worst thing that can happen? You fall short of being an outstanding person by a little bit. So be a great, not so outstanding person, but you'll still be outstanding. So what's the downfall, right? For even trying. It is humanly possible to be perfect in accordance and harmony of what is natural and how things are naturally intended to be. Right? One more thing, Jay. There is a huge difference between performing a natural act like walking, running, jumping, and you slip and fall and you say, "Oh, I'm not perfect." But on the contrary, there's no need to say that because it's natural to slip and fall. But to say, "Oh, I have a drink every now and then," or "I eat unhealthy foods from here and there. I cheat on my diet, or I cheated on my wife or husband a couple of times. I'm not perfect." Then you say, "No one's perfect." But those are unnatural acts. Alcohol, processed foods, the breaking of vows. These are not the acts of the virtuous, right? Giving in or falling victim to your desires over and over and over again, only to say nobody's perfect, in my opinion, Jay, is a cop out. Not only a cop out, a way out of a basic human expectations you have, or a basic human expectation you know you're falling short of. right? And you know you should be doing better. And I'll let you chime in, but I'll leave it with this: you are the you you are the worst version of yourself because you're not perfect. I am
Mm.
the I am the best version of myself because my goal is perfection. Being perfect is less about the outcome and more about the process and the preparation.
Gunshots right there. We still don't got the noise, but that's gunshots. 1000% battle rap noises. We still on that. So there's a lot to unpack there, but
Yeah, my
I
bad.
think
I
if
was
no. This is great. So starting off at the end, right, where people say giving in to their desires and it's only natural. This is what everyone does. No. So these things are cultivated. It's not something that you just naturally have, right? Like you go out and do a thing. We'll take, you said, the cheating on your spouse, breaking of vows, or whatever the case may be, right? This is a product of lust, among other things. But much like with everything else, right? You're not just naturally lustful. It's once you get exposed to it and then you continue to expose yourself to it, it becomes harder and harder for you to deal with, because this is what happens when you start walking down a pleasure seeking path to begin with. Like that's a path to nowhere. It's a path to emptiness, because much like going back to with the food thing, right? People wind up getting fat because they overeat on a consistent basis, because you're sitting there eating for pleasure, you're eating to be full. And the more that you eat, or excuse me, the more times that you eat to be full, the more that you need to eat to be full again. So you keep on pushing the bar up and up and up and up and up again, right? So you're taking your natural form, your natural end, and you're pushing that and taking it to an unnatural thing. Same thing with lust. Every single time that you give into the lust, you need a higher level of that in order for it to give you the same sort of satisfaction that you're getting out of it, right? You think back to early 90s, early 2000s, when people were kids, they had you get the Playboy magazines or whatever. You got the whatever Victoria's Secret catalogs or whatever. You see a picture of a naked woman, and that's just like, whoa, this is crazy, this is insane. But eventually, you become numb to that, and it
wrong,
doesn't have the same effect anymore. It's when people start
wrong.
seeking out videos, and then this is part of the reason why porn is so damaging, right? You wind up going down this rabbit hole of degeneracy because just in the beginning you watched a little video of two women kissing and that was crazy, but then you get used to it, and then you want all this other stuff, and that's when people start seeking out all of this weird shit, and you have these
Yeah,
weird outlandish
yeah,
fetishes, and you need this, and you have 87 different types of kinks, as people like to call
yeah,
it. And this is how people wind up getting into shit that no one should be watching, period, because you
yeah,
need the novelty, right? Because you've overexposed yourself to the thing. Overindulgence in anything is a problem. This is why, if you look at the seven deadly sins, right? It's not murder, it's not theft, it's not robbery or assault or anything like that. It's lust, it's greed, it's sloth, it's gluttony, it's any forms of overindulgence in your most base of desires, because this is what's ultimately going to lead to your downfall with stuff, right?
mhm,
And but again, these aren't natural things. These are things that you naturally had a boundary for, that you pushed by you continuing to go after it and by continuing to prioritize what felt best over what was best. This is actually going against your nature, right? If you even look at humans as a species, it's like humans and dolphins or whatever are the only species that have sex for pleasure. But the more that you do it, the more that you need to do it. And this is where you wind up in the weird realm of breaking your vows and saying, oh, it's because I'm only human. It's not because you're only human. It's because you strayed from the path of humanity that you were meant to walk. And now you're off in this unnatural direction, because going back to what we were saying before, you're staying in accordance with the laws of nature, in accordance with the laws of the universe. And what that is truth. And then the lying, the cheating, all of that is going against what's natural, because it's against what's true. So you're stepping outside of that. And this is not you just making a mistake because you are human, or you being not perfect. Like, everyone's not perfect. You are deliberately doing something against what it is that you are meant to do. And that's how people wind up as all of these things, right? So people sit there, wind up lazy and whatnot, because you're deliberately going against your own nature. People, just like every single other animal in this world, is meant to move around and be active. Again, that could look like different things for different people. Everyone doesn't have to be a bodybuilder. That's perfectly fine. But nobody is meant to be slothy except for a sloth, but people aren't sloths. So you're not living in accordance with your nature doing that. Same thing when you overeat. and we talked about this briefly before, but if you only eat natural foods, chicken, beef, eggs, rice, potatoes, fish, turkey, vegetables, fruits, it's damn near impossible to overeat. Like the quantity of those foods
It
that
is
you would need to,
impossible. It is
that's what I'm saying. It's impossible to do that. So in order to overeat, you have to stop eating what's natural and start eating what's unnatural, therefore making overeating in and of itself unnatural, making being fat, being obese, being overweight, and all of this another act of something unnatural because you're not doing what it is that you are supposed to do. You absolutely can be perfect if you stick to what's natural, stick to what it is that you're meant to do, stick with the laws of nature. You have certain foods that you are supposed to eat, you stick to eating those foods. You have certain ways that you are supposed to conduct yourself, you stick to conducting yourself that certain way. Even, yeah, you might fall short of certain things. Some things might not work out for you on your first try. But again, like you said, it's natural to slip and fall. When you're trying to get better, it's natural to fail. That's how it goes. This is a part of the process. The path is not going to be perfect. The path is not free of debris, but the path being covered in degrees is the path being what it's supposed to be. Therefore, the debris, the obstacles, and the roadblocks are perfection, and you're meant to interact with those.
Absolutely. And
Gunshot.
gunshot for real. It kind of makes you think when you are giving these when you're given these cliches like I'm not perfect, nobody's perfect. What are they for?
Mm.
What are they for? It's a way out. That's what the fuck that is. It's a way out, right? So I don't like way out. I don't like a way out. I
But
want a way out.
nah, you shouldn't. But not only is it a way out, it's a way to encourage people to stay stuck where it is they are. Because
Yeah,
from the time that you're little, they set you the standard of you can't be perfect. No one can be perfect and all of that. So then people just naturally don't strive for it because they were talked out of it. And as a whole, again, we go back to the game within the game, conspiracy sounding stuff, whatever it is that you would like to call. This is what most people want. And all of these things, or not most people, but the powers that be want is for people to stray away from what is natural, what is best, so that they go towards the unnatural, because that makes them consumers, that makes them products, that makes them compliant, and that makes them slaves, for lack of a better term. But there is no better term because it's slavery. People wind up slaves to the unnatural medications, to the unnatural foods, to the unnatural order of things, to all of the pornography, to the video games, to the TV, to the all of the escapism, to doing everything but what it is that they are supposed to do.
to all the real imperfections of life. Those are the real imperfections of life. And if you want to look at it clearly, that's what they're selling you, imperfection, right?
Everywhere.
You just broke it down. We are consuming imperfection and then giving a way out to say, nobody's perfect. I ain't perfect.
It's okay.
Let me sell you some porn, right? Let me sell you some alcohol. Let me sell you some bad food. Because if I sold you perfection, you wouldn't want any of those things. I can't sell you that. So I got to sell you this, right? And this is the reason, Jay, I don't like schools. Because you get a perfect score, you're perfect. But what about the natural process? You feel what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
If a kid displays effort and resilience in the forms of preparation and performance, then to me, he or she is perfect. To me, uh, the outcome can always be cheated and manipulated. That's what people don't understand. The outcome does it could be perfect, but it could be cheated. Yeah, because I could cheat on the test. I could cheat on the test, right? If you're in school, you could cheat on the test, don't get caught, and get a perfect score. But the kid who prepared for a perfect score, the kid who prepared for a perfect score, he can now take those qualities and become a better human. Now, on the flip side of that, conversely, the one who cheated learns nothing, but he learns one thing, right? There's not many penalties for cutting corners or looking for the easy way out, and that's what school kind of teaches.
Yeah.
It doesn't praise the process. It doesn't praise the
It
person.
highlights the outcome as opposed to the inputs. And taking the same thing, if you take the test out, right, and you put it into a real world example, you have person A who goes and wakes up early every single day and he works towards whatever it is that he wants to do. Say he's starting a business. He turns down going out with his friends. He focuses on what it is that he has to do. He gets up even though he's tired, even though he's sad, even though he has other more fun stuff that he could be doing. He prioritizes reading and learning more stuff towards what he wants to do over sitting around watching Netflix, playing video games and all of that. And then you have person B who goes out and buys whatever crypto coin is popular at the moment, right? So person B will have the more immediate payoff, which makes it look like he had the better strategy because he got something out of it. But while person A's will take longer, when his does pay off, A, it will pay off bigger, and B, he will also be prepared to continue building off of that and to do other things in case something happens with his A or with his payoff. But person B with the crypto, if he goes broke because he doesn't know what to do with it, he has no other options. But all he learned is that you should just randomly purchase coins until one of them pops like it does. So he's spending his whole life waiting on the gamble because that's what was reinforced to him as is what he got out of something rather than what it is that he put into it. And because he got a big reward with very little input, it also reinforces the idea that it's okay to not work hard and do something and you'll still get something out of it. Much like you have people who go to school and naturally do good at tests
Yeah.
and they listen a little bit. It's like, okay, cool. Answer. And they don't have to study for anything. So they are getting reinforced saying that they are better than everybody. They are smarter than everybody with very little effort, which for in the moment, in the short term, that might pay off a little bit. That might help them out with something. But in the long run, overall, their ceiling is much lower because they weren't taught or they weren't shown that what you put into something is what is truly important. They're just focused on what it is that they get out of it. So they get that 100% and they think, woo, I did great. Well, it's not about the 100%. It's about what you went through to get the 100%.
Yeah. That's very accurate. And I'd even add on to that and say, I've said this before, Jay. I'm not I'm not married to the results. I'm um I'm engaged to the process. Right. So I'm all in on the process. When I'm working on an album and I'm putting my everything into every bar and subject matter and the choice of beats and the flow of the album and all of that. It's one thing to be. I'm not worried about the results. Give a fuck. You know what I mean? That's why I can honestly say I don't give a fuck if people like my shit or not. I'm all in on the process. That's why I feel like my shit is perfection because I know what goes into it. I don't care about the outcome. One sale or 100 sales, it doesn't matter to me. It's perfect because I didn't cheat the process. I didn't cheat. I never cheat the process. So you could view me how you want to view me, right? And I take that same approach and try to put that to my life. I try not to cheat the process, and every time that I do, nothing good comes from it. Never, never. So if you want to have a better life, stop using these phrases to for a way out. I can't say someone said, "Oh well, Rand, this album sounds incomplete," and well, I'm not perfect. I'm not. I'm not perfect. No, no. If I know I put my all and the process was, I put my all into the process and every bar, every beat, I don't care. You can't tell me anything. That's why people they look at me and how could you think so? You're brash. You're this. Like I could say that because I know the work that I put in, the effort, the amount of effort I put in. So I could say, I ain't nobody better than me. I'm the perfect rapper. I'm the best that ever lived because I know what I put in into the process. One last thing about that specific subject, Jay. I mean to harp on it, but it is an interesting subject, right? And I like to get your take on this aspect of it. It kind of brings me to the one of our previous shows, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, I think we touched on religion a little bit, and this is part of the reason why I'm not so into religion or beholden to any specific religion. It's like you repent and you're all good. That's like it's like murder, just repent, you're good. This whatever vile act you can commit, you repent, you're all good. Whether it be a little small little thing. Well, I had a little bit of alcohol, I repent. Well, I did this, I can repent. Right? Yeah, I'm not into that. It sounds a bit like if you're a pedophile or you're a murderer of innocent people, or it sounds like a vehicle for these people to exist and thrive in. And I don't want to sound too crazy, but I feel like that part of religion sounds like a getaway for people who was on that island. Well, or you know what I'm talking about? Like they could be diagnosed, they could be helped. I don't believe they can. I wouldn't want to help someone who would do something like that. So yeah, what do you think in in regards to religion, perfection, not being so perfect? I could do this and repent and get away with not get away with it, but I could be forgiven for these things.
Yeah. So I believe, going back to what we were talking about again in the beginning as living in accordance with nature, I don't believe in the idea, period, that I don't know about a lot of religions, but I know that people say that everyone is born sinners, born into sin, all of that. I don't buy that. I don't believe that. If there is nothing more pure than a baby, what did a baby do? Not a goddamn thing. He hasn't had an option, or she hasn't had an option to do anything because it hasn't been corrupted by the ways of the world yet. The baby is still living in accordance with nature. It cries when it's hungry, it sleeps when it's tired, it laughs when it's entertained, whatever. Everything that the baby does
Perfection.
is natural. It is
Perfection.
people who corrupt the baby, not the baby in and of itself. So the baby isn't born corrupt, it gets corrupted as it goes on. I also don't believe in the idea that it's not possible to live free of sin. I believe that absolutely it is. Now, do most people fall short of that? Absolutely. Do even the best people fall short of that? Absolutely. But I don't agree with the idea that you do something terrible. Or first and foremost, I don't believe in the idea that all sins are equal. I don't. I know some people push that. I don't believe that
Maybe.
tiny bit.
100.
There is a very big difference in stealing because you're broke and you need something to eat, which, yeah, that's wrong. Absolutely. I agree with that. But there's a very big difference in stealing because you're broke and you need something to eat, and murdering your neighbors because you don't like the way that they park their car. There's nothing remotely level about those. So I don't believe that they're all on the same playing field. And I don't agree with the idea that you can just repent and then everything will be forgiven just based off of the act of asking for forgiveness. I believe that you can redeem yourself
Yeah.
from doing things, but I believe that that level of redemption is subject to the level of misdeed to begin with. Like, it will take a lot more to redeem yourself for stealing food than it will for
Uh-huh.
murdering somebody, than it
Uh-huh.
will for that weird island shit, right? And some things I do believe are as a whole not redeemable, period. And that, to me, that goes with just acts of cruelty. And that goes, island stuff. I believe cruelty, torturing people, animal cruelty, all of that stuff, just cruelty for no reason, I believe is not really a redeemable thing. So I think that the idea of everything being something that can be forgiven or you repent and it's okay is pushed to encourage people to not do good and to encourage people to give in to their less than ideal urges under the guise of I'm only human, all humans sin, and as long as I repent, I will be forgiven, because it's just pushing people away again from their natural order, from their nature, from the perfection that everyone wants there, that the people that in charge, the powers that be, whoever it is trying to steer everybody away from. And these are just little mechanisms to do it. Like we've also talked about before, you see sprinkled in throughout religion, the meek shall inherit the earth, the encouragement of weakness, the
That's one,
encouragement of
Jay.
subservience.
That's
Huh?
that one right there. Could you dive in on that one? Because that just came to my mind the other day. Meek shall inherit the earth. Could you break that down? Because I know what that's about, but I want you to I want you to articulate that.
So it's again, it's these little things that they throw in there to encourage people to be
Yeah,
far less than they could be. Like
yeah.
I said something the other day, I don't remember exactly what it was, but somebody responded with God loves the weak and all of this stuff. And it's like, this, I understand why this is a comforting thing for you to believe, because it makes you feel better about your own weakness and shortcomings. But that's the problem with it, is that it makes you feel better about your weakness and your shortcomings, so it discourages you from ever trying to do something about it.
Remember that comfort shit we talked about?
See, exactly. There you go. And that's the thing. You know what? We're on this topic here. This is probably a very controversial thing, but people go into the religion, they talk about God, they talk about the devil, and they talk about all of these things, right? If we're going what we're talking about, comfort is the tool of the devil. There's a lot of things in religious texts that push the idea of this comfort, like the meek shall inherit the earth, like the glorification of subservience, like you can do whatever you want and then say sorry for it and it will be okay. Like that sounds like someone trying to trick you into doing evil, right? So I think that if just another avenue for people to look at, maybe a lot of these religious texts were written by the opposite of who it is that you believe them to be written by, and under the guise of this is your Lord and this is your Savior saying it. Because even a lot of the stuff with God is vengeful and wrathful and petty and all of this shit, like none of that sounds very godly or divine
At all.
it's just a really weird thing to believe. In the same sense, like we talked about adversity, I believe in adversity being a gift. But what's strange to me is when people will say, well, God gave me this incredibly mentally challenged child to test me. Okay, cool. But what about the child? Like, why would that be a pawn in this? You know what I mean? Like, it's one thing to be you given adversity, but to sacrifice someone else to be the tools of your growth seems less than divine to me. It's just my own personal perception on that idea, and it sounds like if I was the other party, if I was the evil half, rather than just trying to get people to do evil, it seems like it would be much more effective to paint good as evil. I'm sorry, to paint evil as good. So you're doing the good thing, but it's actually the evil thing. So you're, again, being weak as a whole is a terrible thing for not only for yourself, but it's for your family, for your children, for society as a whole. Like there is nothing in the world worse in this world than a weak man. Like people talk about this toxic masculinity and shit, but who do you think is shooting up schools? Weak men. Who do you think are the fucking rapists and the island people? Weak men. Who do you think are the people sitting there just starting wars off of nothing like this? Weak men, because they have no emotional control and they can't handle any of this other stuff. Like it takes strength to restraint is strength, right? Not beating someone up that you could beat up because they said something out of the way to you is the strong thing to do. You're showing restraint. The weak thing to do is someone says something crazy to you, you smack them in the face because you know that you can. That's weakness. And weakness is a plague on society, and it just seems like the encouragement of it through things like the meek shall inherit the earth is not actually good for the world. Much like the thing with you could do whatever you want and repent, that doesn't seem like it's a good thing for the world. It seems like it is good for the person who is acting against the best interests of the world.
Yeah, it's like be meek, be weak, and you shall have everything. Uh, that's that ain't that ain't. It's like they almost pushing the opposite. Uh, it brings me to another thought of how you just described masculine strength, being able to probably do something and not do it. That is a great definition of masculinity in my book. And not only that, being all the way good, because just the fact that you can do it and you don't, that is very being, yeah, that is the almost the definition of being good and strength. And they kind of push the opposite. And I'll even go a step further, even let's take it to women, right? A woman being submissive is now weakness. That's for a woman to submit. It's almost like the same thing as a man saying, I could punch you in the face, but I won't. It's the same thing for a woman's strength, and it's her ability to submit. Like, this man's, I know I could say no, you know what I'm saying? But so they kind of spin it to where, you crazy, you weak, you weak. A woman's power is in her ability to be submissive and to say, you know what, I'm not going to argue with you. You know, I'm just going to I'm going to submit, and that's how should be. That's how it was not so long ago, well, a long time ago, where the man works hard, he comes in the house, gives the woman his check. You know why he gives the woman his check? Because this woman will cook him dinner and be submissive to him, which is her power, her superpower.
Mm-hmm.
Her superpower. So even pushing the fact that women shouldn't be submissive and men shouldn't be masculine, you're directly breaking up the natural ways of the universe and how the natural order of how things should be. And that's just another way of attacking perfection, right? Because like we said earlier, they can't sell us a whole bunch of imperfection if they want us to be perfect. They want us to be meek. The meek shall inherit the earth. They want us to be meek because only a weak person would look at TV and see something, a cheat code, and want to buy it. Oh, I could lose 100 pounds with this pill.
Mm-hmm.
Only a meek person would fall for that. No one strong would fall for.
They want the easy way out.
They want to eat, right? And what did we say earlier? You can cheat on a test and get 100% and not get caught. That's the easy way out. And
yep.
You get rewarded for that in school, though. If you don't get caught, you get rewarded. Even if you do get caught, what? So you get sent to the principal's office.
Oh no.
Cheat better next time.
Basically,
right? So the penalties of cutting corners are not severe, right? So only and that's why I wanted you to harp on that meek shall inherit the earth, and no, the strong shall inherit the earth.
Right? Not only not inherit the earth, control the earth.
Right.
Because even the idea of the inheritance is a weakness thing.
Yeah.
It's given to you, and this is what people want though. Is all of this stuff? It'll just be handed to you, and you got to look how it's pitched. The meek shall inherit the earth; it will be given to you because
I didn't even peep that.
It's all of the language around all of this stuff just encourages weakness, it encourages subservience, it encourages looking for handouts. And going back to what you said too in the power in submissiveness, even if you look at it'll be the same people who will argue against that, who will say it's a strong man who could take directions and be corrected and stuff like that. And it's the exact same thing, right? Like when you're doing something and somebody calls you out on something that you're doing, you have to be a strong person to sit there and take that and be able to look at yourself and say, man, that's correct. I am fucking up. I am flawed. I am walking in the wrong direction. So it's the same exact principle, right? Just applied to the opposite sex, because it takes strength to say, I'm going to allow you to guide me to where it is that, because I trust you. Like, trusting is an act of strength in and of itself.
Absolutely.
So all of these things are shows of strength. It just so happens that men and women show them differently. But then they want to sit there and take it and strip all of this shit away and act like it's bad and act like you're bad for wanting to be guided or led by your husband or whatever the case may be. And somehow now this is a problem because you don't want to go run around doing all of the stuff that men do. So they took this and they corrupted this and they turned it against everyone in the world. Because again, even back in the day, I saw a thing back in the day, right? Like you could work at Radio Shack and you could have a house, you could have a car, you could have a whole family with a dog and all of that shit. And you go home, you make your check, your wife pays the bills and whatnot, buys food and makes sure that everyone has the stuff, sets the doctor's appointment. And then they took this and they corrupted this and said, no, you should be working too. Otherwise you're less than. They doubled the workforce so that they could half the pay. So now you got whole entire families of people working, still barely able to afford shit, doing much more than they were before. Like the fucking cashier at Best Buy before was supporting a whole ass family. I don't know if Best Buy was a thing, but was supporting a whole ass family.
I know what you mean. Yep. I knew you were going there, and I totally agree. They sold women a bunch of malarkey about masculinity,
going against the natural order of things,
to get women out the house and to trick women into working, and this is just more income or another version of a consumer. Now we can sell them stuff. We can sell them stuff when it was in the house, or whatever they were doing inside the house, or taking care of the kids, or what could we sell them? What could we possibly get out of them doing this? Now, if we sell them this, men are toxic. Men who are masculine that's toxic. A submissive woman is weak. What makes you strong is getting out there and working, buying your own shit from us, of course. That's and guess what? We get to take your kid now, and then we get to place your kid in school and teach them exactly what we want to teach them. Put them right. I mean, it's right there led for you, just to, and like you said before, that a normal income, one man could work and he could take and have a nice house and make a nice living for his woman and his kids or whatever. Right? So you got to think about, why is that not so now? Right? Why do me and my wife now have to work? Right? And that alone creates a friction between man and woman, even in the house, even if you are married. That's friction right there, right? And everything he sees, everything she sees, everything he sees, and she sees, it's based on separating the two mentalities of masculinity and submissiveness, right? Everything they push towards us is to break this natural order of the universe.
See that? Yes. And then what they did was they went and tricked people again out of the natural order thing to act in the opposite of what's best for them by convincing people that their natural superpowers are actually an issue. Right? They tricked men out of being stoic, saying, no, you should be emotional, you should be crying, you should be sitting around talking about your feelings and shit, and this is what's right. Not you sitting there being able to control how it is that you feel, not you not letting your emotions dictate your actions, not you being able to suck it up and do it any goddamn way. No, it's you crying, it's you sitting there taking your sad days, it's you sitting around pouting and eating your comfort foods and talking about how it is that you feel all the time and thinking back to your childhood and unpacking the trauma from your 12th birthday party when you got a red bike instead of a blue one and all of that nonsense. And then everyone got tricked into this, and then they're like, oh, well, everyone's depressed now, take these drugs, you need them. And you wonder why all of you are depressed, because you're going against your nature. You're not doing what it is that you are supposed to do. You're sitting there wallowing in your feelings like a little bitch, even though you should be sitting there being able to handle that and being able to keep it pushing, moving forward, because that's what you're meant to do. But you're acting outside of yourself. So now you feel outside of yourself. And of course, here they come to help you out with their drugs. Same thing in the opposite for women. You doing this is not what it is that you're supposed to do. Instead, you're supposed to be doing what the men are doing. You're supposed to be strong like it is they are doing. You're supposed to be out here leading companies and doing all of this nonsense. So they're running around trying to do that. And then they also wind up depressed because it's harder for them. And this is where they sit there and get to complaining, well, like it's set up for men to do all of this stuff. It's not working for us. And then they have the issue with this because they're going against what it is that they naturally do, competing in someone else's natural arena. So of course they too wind up depressed and on these pills. And you have double the amount of workers, again, going back to what it is that we said before. They don't really up anybody's pay, but they up the price of everything. So now everyone has to keep working. So all of you are now trapped in this. They tricked you into thinking that you should go into this. And now that you're there, enough of you were there that they were able to double the price of everything. So you're stuck. Now you're trapped there because you fell for the little carrot that they was dangling in front of you, thinking that was what was going to pay off. Because again, they tricked you out of your nature. They tricked you out of the natural order of things.
They tricked you into imperfection, and they tricked you into thinking you can't be under the natural order of things, right? And it's interesting because when you're being imperfect, it makes you feel like shit. It makes you feel like shit. But it's not sold to you as so. It's sold to you as joy. It's a fucking slice of cake or whatever it may be. They sell it to you and they wrap it up in a nice bow. Where after you do it, you feel like shit. How is? But here they give you nice words to say. They give you nice words to say like "I'm not perfect," or nice phrases to say. If I repent, I'll be okay. Right? To make you feel better about feeling like shit. If you notice. But when you do things in accordance, in harmony of the universe, you feel great. When you give to the needy and not brag about it, or you go exercise and walk the earth and put your feet on the ground and dive in some ocean water, you know, catch a fish and grill it, and all these things make you feel good. All these things make you feel good. Eating shitty food don't make you feel good. Drinking alcohol don't make you feel good. Right? Complaining don't make you feel good. Stressing doesn't make you feel better. All of these things that you do outside of the natural order doesn't make you feel good. You were just tricked into thinking it does, or it was sold to you as such. Here, take this pill or Ozempic, whatever it may be. You take the pill, you might lose weight, but you feel like shit. And half the times you look like shit. But you go to the gym, the natural order of things, working your body, moving your body, you feel better about yourself. But that's not sold to you. Those things are not sold to you. They don't sell you these things. And nowadays I'm just thinking they found a way to try to intercept the natural order of things like put grass fed. Now they take these terms and they turn it into something beyond beef. And now they got to make money. They see certain people try to do better, and what they try to do, they try to make income off of people trying to do better. Well, guess what? I got this gym. I got this certain gym. You do this exercise. Buy this off this. You see an infomercial of this thing you could do in your house, and you get abs in 6 minutes. Or I mean, this beef is not that good. You got to get this grass fed, or nah, you got to get beyond beef. You can't just eat vegetables. You got to eat these type of things. Let me make some money off of you trying to be perfect. So now even the people trying to be perfect, they can now try to make an income off of you. So that's why you have to be. Everything has to be natural. And I'm not just saying your food. Your way of thought has to be natural, right? And that's how you can try to stay away or try to not be tricked into these things, because now they're trying to even make income off of you living the right way.
You made me think of a thing in going to the natural, unnatural thing, right? Like you say, the alcohol, the eating shitty foods, and all of that stuff, right? The complaining, all of these things, while you're drinking, while you're eating the shitty food, while you're complaining,
Might feel
you
good.
feel good.
Yeah, you might
But
feel
when you're
good.
done,
You feel
you feel like shit. See, then you flip it to the opposite end, though, right? Like, say you go on a hike. The hike is natural. The hike during the hike sucks. But when you get to the destination, you see the nice waterfall and all of that stuff. It's an amazing feeling. It pays off,
What is it?
right? When you go,
Is it perfection?
it exactly is perfection.
Yeah,
It is when you go to the gym, it doesn't necessarily feel good while you're doing the workouts. But once the workout's done, you get to look back and be like, man, I did that shit. And you feel real good about yourself, right? So even the fishing, I've never specifically been fishing
me
myself, but I
neither.
imagine the actual act of
Um,
hooking the fish and reeling it in is probably difficult and probably unpleasant. But once you catch the fish, it's like, oh man, look what I just did. This is great. This is amazing, right? So all of the things that go against nature feel good in the beginning, but have the shitty payoff at the end. But it's the things that go in accordance with it that are difficult to do, but have the good payoff. Is the instant gratification that goes against the way of nature. Like you even think back in the day, right, when people just had to like literally hunt for their food. I would imagine running around with spears and shit, tackling fucking saber-toothed tigers was not pleasant. But once you get it done and you get it back and all of that stuff, and then you get to eat, that is a great feeling, right? You've provided for yourself, you've provided for everyone around you, you've accomplished something, you've overcome something. That's the great feeling, right? So but people get tricked into wanting the instant gratification, and it's an easy sell because again, it feels better up front. Do this and you will feel good. So people go and drink the alcohol, they eat the shitty food, they sit there, complain and vent and all of that whatnot, and it feels good while they're doing it. And then they stop doing it and they no longer feel good. But then they've been programmed to think that the reason they don't feel good is because they stopped doing what was making them feel good, not because they took the wrong approach, right? So they get sold the pleasure up front, and then they take that even though it leads to them feeling like shit as a whole. Again, going back to what we were talking about last episode, comfort is the tool of the devil. Here, take this, here, feel good right now. And then they do that, then they feel like shit, then they go running back to the thing that brought them the comfort, back to the thing that made them feel good, even though it's the unnatural thing. Because it's much harder to tell someone as a remedy, oh, you feel like shit, okay, cool, go do some squats, and then you're going to feel like shit while you're doing the squats. So they don't want to go do that, but not realizing that after they do it and after they've been doing it for a long period of time, they're going to start to feel great and start to feel amazing. But they don't want that back end. They're pitched on everything that they see on the instant gratification, even back on the TV shows or the commercials back in the day with the microwave dinners and the oven stuff. You do this, it's so quick, it's so easy to make, even though it's much less better for you than the home cooked meal that takes several hours to prepare. But they pitched you on the quick stuff. You could have this now. You could go through this drive-through right now. You could get a cheeseburger in 5 minutes. That's so much better than sitting around making your own at home, which is going to take you hours. But that has the shitty effects on you. That's what's going to fuck up your health. That's what's going to make you fat. But they know that's the easy sell. They know that's the quick sell, and they've conditioned people to want to go for that, to what it is that feels best. And you even see it now with all of the stuff now. The it's on Instagram, it's on TikTok. People watch your little 2-second videos and they keep scrolling. They're like, ooh, quick, nope. Oh, this, keep going, and all of that. So it bleeds over into all your other areas of life because this is all that you've conditioned to. Entertain me immediately.
yeah, yeah. It makes sense. It also makes me think about I had a thought people who live and survive in gray area thinking. Right? There's certain people, and I would say 99% of people who are on this earth, they live and breathe in the gray area where things can be viewed from a not so defined lens, and it kind of makes things easier to get away with, right? Being unhealthy, crime, whatever it may be, repentance. It kind of makes things easier if you survive in a gray area type of world. Um, and to me, and I know you probably think the same way, this is a dangerous space to live in because, like we kind of insinuated or hinted at earlier, uh, they may or may not be powerful people behind the scenes who might benefit from this way of thinking, right? From this space that they've convinced us to live in, where things don't have to be, a rapist, pedophile can be forgiven medically or diagnosed. He can't help himself. Uh, is that really a man or is it a girl? Can a girl be called a man? It's gray. 2 plus 2. Well, maybe.
It's 5 sometimes.
Sometimes, somewhere around the world, it got to be 5. Drinking actually does it help? Oh, man, there's studies that say that it could help your heart and all this other shit. So that's gray area shit, right? So I wanted to get your. And I already know what. Of course, I know. How you think and what you think about this, but how does living or thinking or surviving in this gray area mind state it adds to your imperfection or your or detracts from your there's an impedance uh, from you trying to accomplish your goals of being whatever you're trying to do. You cannot, in my opinion, you cannot live in a gray area uh, mind state and accomplish anything. You can't get anything out of life or the natural order of things if you live in a gray area where anything may happen, may not happen. I could, man. Oh, what if I don't? If I don't work out, maybe. But if I, yeah, those are the type of people that say, oh well, studies show if you work out too hard, and stuff like that. And well, once a study show that if you break your diet once in a while, if you eat this processed, it's not going to kill you. It's a whole bunch of gray area stuff. Instead of saying this is bad, you don't do it. That's it. You know what I'm saying? Like, uh, you don't smoke crack, you won't end up like an addict. That's it. Point blank, black and white. That's the way life should be, right? You don't do this, you don't get that, right? What do you think about that, Jay?
I think I'm a big believer that one of the worst things that people have done is introduce this gray area and nuance to everything, because all it does is muddy up the waters. Is there nuance in the world? Yes, absolutely. However, when you start thinking like this and taking these into your everyday considerations, this is where you wind up in an area unable to truly do anything, and anything could be whatever the case may be. Anything could be anything when you start introducing all of these little grays to things. This is why you need to operate black and white, binary, yes or no. Do you work out? Yes. Do you get up early? Yes. Do you drink? No. Do you do drugs? No. But people want to sit there again exactly like it is that you said. Well, science shows that if you have one drink every once in a while, here's the thing, man. If I go do heroin once collectively, I'll be fucking fine.
Yeah,
if I go smoke crack once collectively, I'll be fucking fine. But what people don't realize is that's the problem. If I go smoke crack right now, nothing's going to fucking happen. But what I've done now is show myself that it's okay to smoke crack sometimes. And I'm going to go smoke some more fuck because it felt great and nothing bad fucking happened. So why not go smoke some more crack? And this is the slippery slope to you winding up becoming a fucking dope fiend, because just once wouldn't hurt. If I don't work out tomorrow, are all my muscles going to atrophy? No. But the problem with that is the mindset that it creates that says if you skip workouts, sometimes everything will be fine. I can skip workouts probably every single day for a month and I'll look completely the fucking same at the end of that month. Nothing will have happened to me physically, but it will have mentally, because I will have shown myself that I don't need to go to the gym as much as I thought that I need to go to the gym. And what gets me going there every single day, even when I don't feel like it, is the belief that that's what I'm supposed to do, that it's not okay that I don't go. But then you go show yourself, no, it's actually perfectly fine if you don't go. It's perfectly fine if you go binge on these fucking McDonald's and shit. Yeah, it's fine that one time, but then you show yourself that you could do it again. And this is how people wind up fat. This is how people wind up going from I work out every single day to back in high school, I used to have abs. This is how you wind up doing this shit, because just once will never hurt. That's a fact. But the mindset that it creates will fuck you up. This is how people become procrastinators, lazy, addicts, all of that stuff, because just once didn't hurt. And then they did it again, and it didn't hurt that time either. And then they did it again, and it didn't hurt that time either. But eventually all those times added up, and it hurt. Now they are crack addicts. Now they are emaciated and anorexic. Now they are 600 pounds. Now they are broke as fuck. Now they can't stop cheating on their girlfriend with prostitutes or whatever, because they didn't get found out that one time. So that time they didn't found out, it was okay to go do it again, because she's not going to find out the next time either, and she probably won't. But one of those times she will, and then she's going to find out that it's been all of this other shit, and you've dug yourself into a hole that's so deep because none of the individual shovel things made a hole, but all of them added up together to create some shit that you can now barely fucking climb out of. This is the problem with it. And it's also a problem too when people want to sit there and get outside of the black and white, the binary, right? Do you drink alcohol? Yes. Should you stop? Yes. How do you stop? You don't buy alcohol anymore. It's not that simple. Yes, the fuck it is. But people want to add in all of this extra shit. You go, well, I got to go through my 12 steps. Okay, that's cool. But you could go through every single one of those 12 steps, feel like you're making progress, and still drink at the end. And you're still a dickhead. All you had to do was not drink the alcohol. You could say fuck all of those steps and just not buy alcohol anymore. Then you can't fucking drink it. But it's when you start adding in all of this other extra shit that you complicate everything. And this, you make everything difficult. It's when you easily talk yourself out of it doing it. Like I say about getting up early, and people talk about, well, what about this? I don't think about the what abouts. Is there something that might happen at some point in time that will prevent me from getting up when I need to get up? Probably. But in trying to account for that, I wind up giving myself 8 million reasons that I don't need to get up if something happens. It's ridiculous. And they push it because they know that most people will go for it, because most people want a way out. Going back to the repenting thing, it's okay to do this as long as you repent for it. Oh, you can't help it that you're attracted to children. Oh, you can't help it that you think that you're truly a woman, and that's why you hang out in the bathrooms and wear the wigs and all of that weird shit. You couldn't help it. It's just who it is that you are. Yes, 2 + 2 is 4, but it really hurts you because of your trauma. So just for now, we're going to say that it's 5. So because everyone should feel good about everything, all of that. No, some things are, some things are not. We live in a world of facts, and when you dilute facts, you go against, again, the accordance of nature. You go away against the natural order of things to make people feel good because they are uncomfortable with the facts.
Mm-hmm.
And that is how you wind up imperfect and fucked up.
Yeah, it makes you think about that that kid I mentioned cheating on that test. He gets away with it. What does he gain, right? Yeah, he passed. Yeah, he got away one. Yeah, he got away one time, right? But what did he learn? Right? It's the kid that, like I said, preparation, that bust his ass studying. He didn't get the outcome he wanted, but he got the tools needed to survive in the world that we are trying to build and help build. In the world that they're trying to tear down with all of these mediocre cliche sayings like, as long as you try your best, you don't have to be perfect. Gray area, right?
Don't be so hard on yourself.
That stuff. And it kind of makes me think about not our last episode, one of our episodes when we talked about manipulation, right? I don't know how all this shit ties in, Jay, but it really fucking does. It really fucking does, man. You can't listen to people's verbiage. You have to read the room and watch actions, right? Because if you listen to these words, and abide by these words, you're not going to get where you need to go, right? You have to watch the room and watch the actions, man. Like, you can't just tell me anything. You can't tell me anything. You got to show me, right? So even when it comes to when it comes to religion, when it comes to working hard, you can't just tell me you work hard, right? You got to show me. Well, I would know from the results, right? I would know from, you could tell someone who goes to the gym and someone who does not, even if Even if they're not the biggest guy, you still know. They don't got to be the
They
biggest.
have the aura of effort.
You can see it. Well, like, and that goes to our other show, Gods Amongst Gods. I can see, I can identify another God walking the earth. I could just see it. And with men, I don't know what women do, but with men do, we give that person a head nod. I see you. You know what I'm saying? We don't give weaklings head nods. We don't give 400-pound people head nod. You don't get a head nod from me. Right? You don't get a I don't know, after know you from a can of paint, I can see another guy from across the street and I'm gonna do this. And he's gonna do it right back to me because he sees what I see. What I see in him, he sees in me. Like I said, I don't know the process for a woman, but that's what men do. I mentioned to my wife why I don't communicate with many rappers or go around the area of many rappers or whatever. Um, it's just because they're not. Most of them are not masculine men. So I don't see, and I explained this to my wife that you can't very. It's a small chance you can get 30 men in a masculine men in a room and that's it. Like either they're going to war together or they're going to go on a war against each other, or this we're not 30 masculine men in a room. They're not going to be joking, smiling, laughing, acting goofy and girly around other men. That's not what masculine men do. We're going to be looking and staring at each other. We're talking about,
Especially if you don't know each other.
especially if you don't
Because you
know.
got to sit there. Who are you?
Who are you and what are you doing here? I'm reading.
Who are you and what do you want?
That's you don't that's what we think, right? If you're masculine, you walk in a room and you know another masculine man, you know that's so when I see a room full of rappers, 30 fucking goofballs, I know they're not and no women. There's no women there. Women are the balance to masculinity. So the one thing you could do to calm 30 men, masculine men, is to add 30 women. And a masculine man is not going to look at that woman like, oh, I'm going to jump her bones. It's natural. It's just a balance. Oh, hey, how you doing? Do you have everything? You need everything? Cool. The women could be themselves, silly, whatever they want to do. They know that they're protected. So that's the natural balance of 30 masculine men, 30 submissive women can coexist and have a grand old time. When I see 30 uh, rappers or with their entourages and it's all men, there's no women nowadays. They used to call them groupies, but that's just a derogatory term for women admiring strong men, right? But that's not a fucking groupie. It's what women do. Like you see a dope ass man rapping and he's fucking talented. Duh, I want to be around this guy. But the men have turned into women. And now, even with women rappers, you don't even see women around women rappers. You see men. So men are now the new admirers of other men and other. Oh, but That's not the way masculine men move, right? So when I see a room full of fucking guys smoking, fucking laughing, and dressing with
Giggling and shit.
dressed all with colorful clown outfits on, and I don't see masculine men. And and if I do, I know who you are. You know what I'm saying? And we sizing each other up, and that's how that works. Not that we're enemies, it's just that that's what we do, right? So that'll be my answer to why, Rand, why you don't? Because I don't like, in Jason's terms, bitches, men who act like bitches. And I'm not saying women are bitch. I'm saying bitch. You're a bitch. You're a bitch. That's why I don't be around, right? So I don't even know where that rent came from. I was discussing with my wife, but I don't like I don't like a bunch of bitch ass motherfuckers. That ain't my thing.
Yeah, so I mean, you see that for the most part. I always think that it's weird in any space. Like you take the music space, the people who associate with everybody. It's like that's weird to me. You know, like, or you see the freaking YouTube people and it'd be like they all hang out together. It's like, that's weird. Why y'all also just
Why?
in this big ass group all of the time? You know what I mean? And I feel like the more solid that you are, the less people that you can associate with naturally, because no one wants to hang around all of the like weirdo shit. It's not saying there's anything wrong with laughing and joking. Like, we sit here laughing
Yeah,
and joking about
yeah,
shit, but it's two of us. It's
right,
not a big ass room full of a bunch of random ass
right.
people that don't nobody know. That's fucking weird. And when you sitting there running around in a room full of a bunch of people that you don't know, being a goofball like a fucking weirdo, then that says exactly who it is that you are as a whole. And you'll see this too. Like, you talk about the rappers. Like, I don't know the motherfuckers, but you can see how certain people move and how certain people conduct themselves. You can tell who's on what and who's not. And that's is very obvious to people who know things. Like, a dog will always bark at another dog, but he looks
Yeah,
at the birds and shit confused.
yeah,
So
yeah,
it's the same premise. Like, you can't fool a dog about who's a dog.
yeah. I only mentioned that the rappers as an example. It could be a room full of anybody, right? Yeah, it could be a room full of anybody. I know jokers when I see it, and like you said, it's not the fact that you're joking; it's that the fact it's just the fact that who you're joking with means everything to me. And yeah, like I said, like if I see 30 masculine men cannot be in a room by themselves for an extended period of time because me and you know what will happen. You know, eventually.
Unless these are people who all have some sort of established
Yeah,
relationship.
yeah. No, I mean that you don't know.
Yeah, yeah, no,
That
that's
you don't
yeah.
know. It's only
It's like, what we got going on here? Who is
yeah.
y'all?
Either we're going to work together. We go make it understand who we going to. We need an opponent. Like you know, that goes back to our last uh, op. You need an opposition, right? That's what if you put 30 men with 30 masculine men in a room with no goal or no reason, no purpose. We both know what's going to happen, right? We're going to be biting each other's heads off, or it's going to happen, right? We need a purpose. We need opposition. We need to be like, and going back to the imperfection thing in the natural order of the universe, to me, that is the natural order of the universe for a masculine man to be have a yin and a yang. We need to be around women and only unmasculine men. Like, for instance, that same 30, that room full of 30 unmasculine men, if you add 30 women to that room, it's a disaster. You know, it's a fucking disaster because now it's men getting too touchy because their imperfections, their desires, they have no control over them because they're not masculine. So now there's like, oh my god, there's women in the room. Can I touch? But you know, she likes me. It's fucking goofballs. Now if it's 30 masculine men, it's like it's naturally the order of things. How are you doing? Are you okay? Do you need anything? Okay, I'm gonna leave you alone. I'm gonna be over here talking to this guy. If whatever you need me, and let the women, hey, I like that guy. You know, a man shouldn't be fawning over a woman. Fucking that's not masculine, right? So you know,
Especially when there's a group of other men doing it.
yeah, come,
That'd be the craziest thing to me.
I mean, men shouldn't fawn over other men. That's what basically what I'm saying is like, what the hell are we doing? I'm not saying admiring. I'm saying fawning over and and such things. That's why I don't. That's why I can't be around because uh, conversely, what you said that who wants to be around a bunch of goofballs, but the goofballs also don't want to be around masculine men or someone who's going to counteract that goofballness and like, yo, man, what the fuck you doing, dog? Like, who wants to be around that guy too? Like, yo, man, don't do that. Like, don't touch her. Don't do that. Don't say that to her. Don't. You know what I'm saying? Like, who wants those
Mm-hmm.
men around anyway? You know, it's like the goofballs want to have this world to the meek shall inherit the earth. They want this
They want
shit
to do
for
their weirdo
themselves.
shit
Yeah,
unimpeded.
unimpeded, right? It's crazy how we spun that back around. But that's what we do. Game within the game. That's what we do. But it's crazy. It's
Gunshots.
gunshot. It's crazy how the meek want us gone so they can have this shit and do whatever the fuck they want to do. And it's crazy how women you wishing for this stuff until you get what you want. All these you want this. Do you really want this? Do you really want these masculine, perfect men gone, or do you want these sensitive, imperfect men here? Because
See, and again, this goes it goes back to the other thing with the alcohol and stuff, right? In the moment, the dude who's sensitive and touch with his feelings seems lovely because you get to talk
oh,
this and he empathizes with you and you get to share how it is that you're feeling inside. This all seems great right now. But then something happens and he's a bitch and completely fucking useless. It could be a big thing, it could be a small thing like your car breaking down or something. It doesn't matter because when it comes down to it, in the long run, this is the bad choice. And when it really counts, he is not going to be who it is that you need him to be because they've taught you to seek out the wrong thing, someone that you could sit there and go back and forth sharing feelings with and all of the emotional availability and all of this other dumb shit. And I understand this seems great in the moment, but again, when things count, when you have unexpected bills come up and whatnot, and you're crying about it, and he sits there crying with you instead of saying, "Don't worry about it, I got it, I got it. I will take care of this." Until the fucking house catches on fire and you start freaking out, and that motherfucker starts freaking out too, because he don't know how to regulate his fucking emotions, so he's panicking right along with you till you both burn to fucking death. That's when you need the motherfucker who's gonna sit there and be like, "It's cool, breathe. I got you. I got the dog. I got the kids. We go take care of this. All will be well." That's what you need there in the long run, not the immediate, "Oh my God, our feelings are the same and we're so in touch with each other. We make gay ass little dancing videos where we can both be goofballs on TikTok." No, fuck all of the fun shit. It's the serious shit that counts. That is the trade-off, but they've tricked you, much like with the alcohol, much like with the bad food, into taking the wrong thing, into saying that that guy is toxic, that that guy is bad because he don't cry like a little bitch all of the time. Full circle on everything here. That's what we doing
man,
today.
listen, man. We're gonna have to get our gunshots back, man. I'm missing that
Facts,
right
battle
now.
rap noises.
I'm missing that right now. But yeah, this has been spectacular. And Jay, I actually needed this conversation. Like I said, you're not my fucking therapist, but you are everyone else's therapist. Um, Even though they don't think how we think, but maybe, just maybe, we can get and shift.
Spark a couple brains out there.
Critical thinking, man. Let's practice some discernment here and get you thinking a little bit more critically, even at the stuff that you're not supposed to be thinking about, like religion. Oh, you can't. No, 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 no. God,
Can't question these things.
these things. Like, okay, but why not? Like Jay earlier questioned whether I was like, oh yeah, but I was like, oh yeah, they're gonna get on Jay ass for this. But guess what? If you critically think about it, it's like, yeah, dog, yeah. What if someone else you tried to spin it as evil, good, good, evil? What if? What if? We're spitballing, and why are we not allowed to?
Here's here's the thing. Here's the thing. Not being I hate this term that people use with the red flags, but not being able to ask questions about something should be a red flag to you. Because then the question comes, why can't I ask questions? Because if you're speaking truth can be questioned
All
infinitely.
day.
It's the lies that have the border of the questions. It's the lies where the questions come too far. So anyone who's telling you that there is a thing and you are not supposed to question it is, even if unknowingly, pushing you lies. Because again, natural order, you can ask questions.
Yeah.
You can infinitely follow a trail of questions, but you look at the stuff, the popular narratives that you can't question. You couldn't question COVID stuff. Why not? You can't question the weird gender ideology shit. Why not? You can't question certain religious things. Why not? And the reason always, or at the very least, appears to me, I'm just an observer here, appears to be that there will be a wall where you hit with the questions where they can no longer answer them, because once they start getting up to the questions that can't be answered, the whole entire thing falls apart. So they don't want you to question it, period. That's why you get labeled a conspiracy theorist when you ask certain questions. That's why you get labeled a bigot when you ask certain questions. That's why you get labeled as a blasphemer when you ask certain questions, because they have that wall right there. You can't ask past this, or what we're selling you falls apart.
Yeah.
This is what it seems like to me. I'm just here. I don't know.
I mean, we're presenting things for you to critically think about. That's all. We're not saying it's one-sided. It's just something to think about, man. And it's just something to think about, man. Why not, right? And Jay, this is what separates us, right? I've been thinking about like what kind of we've been separating ourselves from the pack of uh, motivational speakers or conspiracy things and talking about the deep state, all this other. I think we've separated ourselves and with our content and the way we attack things and present things, and we just started. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are still figuring things out. But the one thing we are not still figuring out is the process. We know that it takes a level of preparation and thinking and discipline, right, for the process. So, but we're still figuring this thing out, and I've been noticing, Jay, that we're separating from the pack as far as what is being said, what the content sounds like, and the delivery, everything. As we grow, I could see this. I don't know, like we said before. Don't want to dwell on the outcome, but the process with you has become is dope. It's become something I look forward to. So
yeah, facts.
Let's just keep doing what we're doing. Game within the game. I like I said, I look forward to each week. Um, People don't know, each week is always a process. It's always an obstacle, and we always figure out a way.
Again, like we said before, the path is supposed to have obstacles, and you're supposed to figure out a way around them. That's the natural order of things. A fully clear path is unnatural. It is imperfect. Come on.
Come on, Jake. Come on now. Come on. What we doing here? What we doing, boy? What we doing, man? Yo, man, look.
Hold up. This is the thing that you said before. This is you say you don't know how it is that we circle back to these things from all of these other episodes, how we just randomly, completely unplanned, wind up tying all of these points together back to the original point, because what we are saying is facts, and facts can follow an infinite path of questions, and they will always lead you to the proper place. This is what it is that we are doing here. We are speaking facts. This is why we wind up in the exact same destinations all of the time through different pathways, because at the end of the day, there is but one truth. There are many paths to it, but only one truth. And we always wind up back at said truth, no matter what fucking path that we take.
Yeah, and people try to debate us all the time. There is no debating the truth. You could, and you know how you debate the truth, Jay? With gray area.
But what about this?
Yeah, that.
What about the girl who was born in Malaysia with one leg and an elephant ear? What about her?
Yeah, that's how you debate.
Jesus Christ.
That's how.
With gray areas and nonsense and obvious exceptions to rules.
Yeah.
But see, we're going to go back again, tying to last episode, choosing levels of opposition. The people who are sitting there trying to debate are nowhere near the level of opposition that we are picking. The fuck we look like sitting here debating with you, person that nobody has ever heard of before? You watched us. We don't watch you. I don't know who you are. I didn't even know you was trying to debate. And if I did find out, I wouldn't, because who gives a fuck if you agree or not? You are not the appropriate level of opposition.
Fuck that shit, Yoda. Yo.
Come on.
Yo, I love that shit. I love that shit. But yo, like always, man, it's always a pleasure. Game within the
Yes,
game.
sir.
The Oracle bending spoons, Yoda floating across mountains like a fucking nomad, like a genius nomad he is, with a fucking garb, a wool garb and leather sandals and shit. Just fucking.
We just, we just here handing out the purple pills, man. That's what we doing.
Yup, purple pills, man. Come get them, man. We slinging them things. We gonna start selling sandals too, and staffs, fucking wooden staffs, and
You're not. You gonna get the fucking what's the Morpheus robe for
yeah,
you
I need a.
with the little
I'll
glasses.
take the robe. You take the cloak, the fucking wool cloak, and all that. Shit.
That's how we walk around this bitch.
Yeah, no, we floating, man. My wife get mad at me. I'll be like, man, I don't walk. I hover.
Fucking levitate.
I
I just
fucking
be
levitate. I
places.
just.
No, I didn't teleport there. I'm just there now.
Oh man, I'm just there, man. I don't know how I got there. I'm there though.
Don't even matter. I'm just here.
I'm here.
I'm there and I'm not there at the same time. You're looking at me. You're not looking at me. I'm talking to you. It's all happening
It's all
simultaneously.
yeah. You gotta love it.
Right there. You don't got to wrap your head around it. It don't
It
even
just
matter. You
happens.
can't understand it. That's just how it is.
It just
This
happens.
is just the ways of the universe. This is what happens when you tap in and follow the natural path, the natural order. That is perfection.
Ooh, you stole my line. You stole my line. You stole it. You got that. All right, Yoda. You got that. You got that.
Game within a game, motherfuckers.